Hi, this is Andrea Vicari, and you're listening to Jazz Doodles on jazzlondonradio.com. In today's show, I've got an interview with pianist stroke organist Larry Goldings. I managed to catch up with him at a gig at the Watermill Jazz Club in Dorking. He was playing there with Peter Bernstein and Bill Stewart, and that trio was there a couple of years ago. You might have heard the show where I interviewed Bill Stewart. Larry Goldings is a jazz pianist who also plays the organ. He composes for not just the jazz world, but also for film and TV. He's worked with such musicians as Pat Metheny, Maceo Parker, John Schofield, Carla Bley, John Mayer, and James Taylor. Larry has played with Peter Bernstein, he's a guitarist, and Bill Stewart, drummer, now for over 20 years in a trio. And he was with this lineup when I interviewed him a few weeks ago, playing at the Watermill Jazz Club, Dorking, and then he was off to Ronnie Scott's the following night. So, I'm here with Larry Goldings. Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Yeah.
And we're at the Watermill in Dorking, which seems to have some incredible jazz. So, this is your second time?
I believe so.
At the Watermill with this group?
Yeah.
What made you want to come back?
Oh, well, we were offered a date, and we knew we had a good possibility of doing Ronnie Scott's, which we're doing tomorrow, so we were able to fit this in as another venue.
Great. Well, I'm glad you managed to make it. It's a great venue.
Yeah, people are great here.
There's a lot of London musicians here. I don't know if you know them. Good professional ones, and they all love it here because it's like an out-of-town club.
Right.
But it's not in town because it's something you gain from being in a venue like this rather than in Ronnie Scott's, which is great. But you know, it's a different thing. Do you have any new material albums coming out any time with this trio? I think last time I was here, I got Ramshackle Serenade.
Yeah. We were supposed to have a new record with us on this tour, and that the label Pirouette folded. They decided to close their doors after we made the record and while they were mixing it. So now we don't know what's going to happen with that record, and everything's is recorded and
Can't steal it then.
No, in fact we'd have to buy it from them. We'd have to buy the masters. So we're not sure what we're going to do. Normally there would have been another record with in the can and available. So the answer to that is I'm not sure. We're going to have to decide what we're going to do with that particular material. Hopefully in the next 3 to 6 months we'll figure that out. Maybe another label will buy it, or maybe we'll just record for somebody else. I'm not sure what's going to happen. So with that trio, that's the situation there.
And was that original music? Or?
About half of it was, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's a shame.
Yeah, it really is.
Was it really good?
It was good, and Bill and I were both on the road with John Schofield when we both got the email from the company. It was an extremely depressing, thing to realize.
Let's hope someone brings it out. That'd be great. Moving on. You've studied with, it says I got all this from your website, the likes of Keith Jarrett when you were a teenager, wow, and I played with the likes of Harry Sweets Edison, Jim Hall, and collaborated with musicians such as John Schofield, Carla Bley, and Michael Brecker, all familiar names to the jazz community. Played both piano and organ, and I just wondered if you had a preference.
Between piano and organ?
Yeah.
Not particularly. I love playing them both. I miss the piano when I'm doing a lot of organ stuff, and I love not having to be a bass player all the time. It's very freeing. It's also very freeing to be an organ player because of the control that you have sonically and in terms of time feel and so forth, and harmonically when you're also providing. So I like them both. I like to, if I can mix it up pretty evenly throughout the year, that makes me happy.
Are you in demand more on one particular instrument? Are you getting a call for one instrument more over than the other one?
I would say on the whole, I've been on in demand and known more as an organ player. Just the way it happened. There was no plan for that because I was a piano player. That just sort of is how it's happened. Partly because I started getting more high-profile recording work and stuff where people just sort of thought that was my main personality. But that's fine.
I mean, I'm going to ask you a really silly question here. I'm a piano player, not an organ player. Do you do the feet thing as well?
Yeah, I do. It's mostly left hand, and then
Right.
I do the feet as much as I can.
Because there's a lot of people, I think, that are going around being jazz organ players, and they don't do the feet thing. To me, that's a real skill. That's three things at the same time.
Yeah, you really do. But it's a myth that all organ players are just providing bass with their feet. Mostly, it's some mirror most of what they play on the left hand with their foot. Some do a combination of that and tapping one pedal staccato enough with the left hand bass line so you get a kind of attack.
Okay.
That's what I do mostly. You'll see, sometimes you'll see me moving my foot around on the pedals, and sometimes you'll just see me hitting one pedal. Sometimes I'm not playing the pedals at all. On ballads, I'll play more pedals. It just comes down to what I feel like I can handle, but I'm not someone. There are other organ players who utilize the pedals much more. I just sort of use it when I feel like I need it.
Well.
Or when I can physically just do it.
Well, I'm in awe of feet movement.
I'm in awe of it too. The gospel organ players.
Yeah.
Just that type of control and freedom must be just amazing.
Not only do you play organ and piano, but you're also a prolific writer. I did look again on your website and I saw the clips of Dealing with Idiots, and you'd written some music for that, which was I thought was very appropriate for the series. It's a comedy series, if anyone wants to.
That was just a movie.
Oh, was it? Oh, I thought it was a series.
But Jeff Garlin, who made that, is known for the series Curb Your
That's
Enthusiasm.
it. Yeah. And also, you appear as a sideman to many groups, including James Taylor, Hugh Laurie, Melody Gardot, and the list is ridiculous if anyone's interested in looking at it. But I suppose I'm going to ask you an obvious question, but have you got a preference? Do you prefer performing jazz, performing just music in general, writing music? Is there one that's more of a love than the other?
Really, I love the fact that I get to do all of it. That's what really makes me feel like a complete musician, and I feel very lucky that I can do that. However, if I found myself with a writing job that really took up a good part of my time, and it was a satisfying writing situation, I think I'd be really into that. For one thing, it would take me off the road, which, as much as I love playing in front of people and seeing the world. I've been doing that for a long time. And
You can't beat getting home, though, can
yeah,
you?
yeah, yeah. The balance between
Yeah.
traveling and being able to work musically at home has never been really where I want it. You know, it's particularly now that I've got kids and you know, it'd be good to have more writing jobs than I do. But in terms of just the process of each of those things you mentioned, I really like them all. And if it's jazz, I love this group and the sideman things that I've been called for are all very satisfying situations. But at the same token, there's pop things that are, you know, James is fun for a lot of different reasons. I love his music, and it's got its certain challenge to sort of turn off some of the things that I know about harmony.
Do you have to be careful about not putting too much chromaticism and stuff like that?
Yes, you do.
Because you don't want to go too jazzy.
Well, no, you have to. Either you're literally playing the same part every night on that particular song, or it's a little bit more open on some other songs, and then there's like I get maybe 2 solos a night if I'm lucky, you know. So it's just a different headspace you get into, and you're serving the song and you're serving that artist. So if you embrace that and you enjoy that, and that's which I do, it's really fun. And also, you know, in terms of the economics of things, it helps throughout the year to have a pop gig some of the time. You know, it's a very different situation. The traveling is more comfortable, and we don't have to set up our own gear, and you know, in that way it's refreshing as well. But I start itching to get out there with my own band, or at least in a situation where I'm kind of just free to kind of be me, you know, all the time. But I'm very lucky to be. I mean, I couldn't think of another pop gig that's more fun than that. Although I am going to be going out with John Mayer this year, so that'll be my second traveling pop gig that I've ever done. So it'll be interesting to compare the two, and I think that will be fun too. But again, that'll be a situation where you just want to play the right stuff, you know.
It's a skill, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know?
It's just about taste and, you know, finding your place in things.
I was looking on your website and it talked about an album that you made, and it was called Music from the Front Room, and I just wondered, did you record it in your front room?
I recorded it in the front room of the drummer,
Okay.
Bellarose. That's why it sounds so sort of live and raw, but I really like the way it sounds because of that. Yeah, and that was not meant as a record originally. We were just setting up microphones and getting together once in a while late at night and having drinks and just playing and recording it. And then after several months of that, we looked at what we had, and we decided it was good enough sonically to. And actually, it doesn't exist in a physical form yet. It's just digital right now. So
it was on
I'd actually like to put it on
iTunes,
an LP.
know?
Yeah, I'd actually like to put it on LP because it's a good length for an LP.
Perhaps it's only about £5, which I don't know what that'd be, about $4. It's pretty good. So I'm just saying this because if anyone listening could
I'm really proud.
It.
That's the only other sort of trio that I've. It's only the second sort of all piano record that I've made, and I'm very happy with that trio. Those are guys that live in Los Angeles, where I'm living now.
To me, it sort of drew upon the sort of American country stroke jazz tradition, blues, and I think there was one called Road Song, which were reminiscent of some of those Jarrett tunes, such as Long As You Know You're Living. Was that something that you consciously did, or was that something close to your heart and your stylistic way of playing?
That is something that's close to my heart, that folky influences that come into play. But also, those particular musicians, they come from not a purely a jazz tradition background, and so, but they're extremely good, supportive, great players, and I was trying to find repertoire that was going to be common with the three of us, and they're just great. I just have so much fun playing with them. So, it's not a trio that I would play a lot of the repertoire, for instance, that I played with this band. So it was just an opportunity to sort of find some different music. But that is definitely part of my, the part of Keith Jarrett that is that folky, has that folky and country flavor. I mean, I was very influenced by Keith Jarrett, so maybe that's why it's part of my.
Well, we all were, I think.
Place.
There's most piano players,
But I do listen to lots of music that's folk and whatever touches me, it doesn't matter really what the genre is.
So just talking about repertoire and this kind of drawing this to a conclusion, because I know you've got to get on stage, and I work at a college, and we're doing a lot of work this year celebrating 100 years since Thelonious Monk's birthday, and I just wondered if you had any plans in your playing to celebrate his birth. Presumably you were aware of that.
I was not aware of that, so that's a great idea. We played Monk last night, though, coincidentally. We played Reflections. No, but that's great. That's great to know.
But we're really preparing. We've got monkathons, monkestras, stuff. But it's not till October. So.
Well, that's great. I mean, his influence is. There's not a night that goes by where I haven't consciously or unconsciously thought about Monk when I'm playing. He's extremely important to me.
Oh yeah, definitely. Where are you off to next?
We're going to London, and then
to Ronnie Scott's. Yeah.
We're gonna, I don't know the order of things, but we're gonna be in Italy, we're gonna be in a few cities in Germany, we've just come from Belgium, so kind of all over the place, but it's a relatively short tour, a couple weeks.
Great, well, I hope you have a brilliant time in Europe, thank you so much for giving up some of your time. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
During the interview, you heard several tracks. The first track was called Solidity from the album Music from the Front Room, And then you heard Louisa, which was from Ramshackle Serenade. That's the trio he has with Peter Bernstein and Bill Stewart. And then you heard another track from that album, and it was called Mr. Meagles. And then after that, Road Song from his album Music from the Front Room. We heard a bit of Thelonious Monk, that was Blue Monk. You've been listening to Andrea Vicari. This is Jazz Doodles on jazzlondonradio.com.